Should People First language be required in all college classes? According to the National Center for Education, in 2014, total undergraduate enrollment was 17.3 million, and it continues to rise every year. College is challenging. You're leaving home, you're taking tough classes, and you're meeting a lot of new people, all with different opinions, both good and bad. Of the 17.3 million undergraduates, 6.6 million are minority students, including Hispanic, African American, Asian American, and Pacific Islander. Of JMU's 21,227 enrolled students, between 18 and 22% are of some minority. All this diversity means a lot of different views, beliefs, stereotypes, and opinions, good and bad, that are being brought to universities across the nation. George Orwell once said, "If thought corrupts language, then language can also corrupt thought." Words are powerful, which is why People First language should be required in all college classes. According to the Iris Center, People First language is a positive, respectful way to refer to people. We use our words to express ourselves, to convey meaning, and to communicate attitudes, perceptions, and emotions. People First language helps you focus more heavily on the strengths than the weaknesses of someone. It sets people up for success and is a great first step to a positive change of thinking. According to Employer Assistance and Resource Network on Disability Inclusion, People First language emphasizes individuality, equality, and the dignity of people. You wouldn't want to be referred to as the woman soldier or the male nurse or the autistic girl. People First language works to put these derogatory terms to rest by putting the person first. A disability or gender or race is not what should define you. It's simply a small part of who you are. Depression is the most common health problem among college students. Webster's Dictionary defines depression as a serious medical condition where a person feels sad, hopeless, and unimportant. It's a serious problem on today's college campuses, but thankfully there are ways to help. Talk therapy is one way to help treat depression. The benefits include it builds self-confidence, self-worth, and self-image, and it helps stop those negative thoughts. Just talking helps because language is powerful. Language can help set us up for success, increase our self-confidence, and help treat depression, which is why People First language should be required in all college classes.
The topic for our debate is, should People First language be required in all college classes? We, as the negative team, believe that this statement is false. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that People First language is a positive, respectful way to refer to people. This is wrong because there are a lot of people who are proud of their disability, and People First language refers to their disability as second to them as a person. It is important to recognize that not everyone feels that their identity is disconnected from their disability, and making the use of People First language required in all college classrooms is degrading to these people. While People First language is necessary in some cases, what the affirmative fails to consider is that it could potentially be hurtful to people who identify with their disability, such as the autistic and deaf communities. When we say person with autism, it seems that we are saying it is unfortunate and an accident that this person is autistic. Lydia Brown, in an article titled Identity First Language, stated that when people say person with autism, it does have an attitudinal nuance. It suggests that the person can be separated from autism, which simply isn't true. It is impossible to separate a person from autism, just as it is impossible to separate a person from the color of his or her skin. Person First language can be hurtful to autistic people because it can make them feel that they are separated from autism, but they truly see their autism as an integral part of their identity. Jim Sinclair, an autistic writer, published an article in the Critical Journal of Interdisciplinary Autism Studies that stated, saying person with autism suggests that the autism can be separated from the person, but this is not the case. I can be separated from things that are not part of me, and I am still the same person. I am usually a person with a purple shirt, but I could also be a person with a blue shirt one day, and a person with a yellow shirt the next day, and I would still be the same person, because my clothing is not part of me. But autism is part of me. Autism is hardwired into the ways my brain works. I am autistic because I cannot be separated from how my brain works. Ultimately, what we are saying when we say person with autism is that the person would be better off not autistic, and that it would have been better if he or she had been born without autism. However, autistic people want to be referred to as autistic, and they are not different because of their autism. This can be related to the deaf community as well, because they are extremely proud to be deaf, and they vocalize that there is nothing wrong or different about them. Many individuals in the deaf community would rather be referred to as deaf than a person with a hearing loss. An alternative to using people first language would be to use identity first language. This is language that places the disability-related word first in a phrase. According to Collier in his article Person First Language, What It Means to Be a Person, people who prefer identity first language for themselves argue that their disability is an important part of who they are, or that they wouldn't be the same person without their disability. This alternative language would be beneficial to use because it gives the individual the choice of identifying with their disability or not. With people first language, it is assumed that the person comes before their disability, when in some cases an individual feels that their disability is part of them. In the article Person First and Identity First Language, Developing Psychologists' Cultural Competence Using Disability Language, published in 2015, the authors argued that psychologists should adopt identity first language alongside person first constructions to address the concerns of disability groups while promoting human dignity and maintaining scientific and professional rigor. Identity first language would be a more successful form of language for referring to the autistic and deaf community, and people first language should not be required in all college classes because of the discrepancies.
The first negative just argued that person first language should not be required in college classes because they believe that person first language is hurtful. They stated that people can't be separated from their disability, which person first language seems to imply that they can. I do not agree that people feel this way, and I'm arguing that person first language should be required in college classrooms for the same reason Morgan, the first affirmative, stated. Person first language helps you focus more heavily on the strengths than the weaknesses of an individual. Person first language also emphasizes individuality, equality, and the dignity of people. As well as agreeing to everything the first affirmative argued, another reason person first language should be required in all college classes is because if you are not using person first language, you are bullying individuals with disabilities. According to the International Journal of Whole Schooling, person first language is a positive language that shows acceptance of students with disabilities and provides a classroom environment where they can flourish. It was proven in a study conducted in Melbourne, Australia, that 94% of the people studied found the word retarded offensive, and 0% of the people studied found the phrase person with disabilities offensive. By using person first language in a college classroom, you are minimizing biases and stereotypes. Stereotypes influence how people feel, think, act, and react towards others. Spreading these stereotypes is a form of bullying. The Person First Language movement aligns with the Compliance recent anti-bullying campaign and related curricula. In the past 4 years, the word retarded has become a widespread topic of our public outcry. Media policies and campaigns such as the R Word campaign, Spread the Word. The R Word campaign, Spread the Word, is only the beginning in helping individuals to change their perceptions and attitudes towards people with intellectual disabilities. They state, instead of simply replacing or eliminating terms, we believe that the focus should be on alleviating the stigma associated with intellectual disabilities. For until we do so, it will only be a matter of time until a new word emerges to replace the word. The president of the campaign advised, I think spreading the word to end the word is something we can do as a part of our daily lives, to monitor our own language and to educate others about the power of language, especially the use of language that has the power to hurt and stigmatize. It starts with talking to our students, our families, our friends, strangers we meet. It won't be easy, but doing what is right rarely is. Campaigns like the R Word campaign help to get the word out that there is an issue in our society and the way we are addressing people with disabilities, and they make people more aware of the words they are using in their day-to-day lives. In conclusion, person-first language should be required in all college classrooms because it is not only bullying, offensive, and it helps to spread stereotypes. People are not their disabilities, they are people first.
While person-first language is necessary in some situations, what the affirmative fails to consider is that person-first language can be seen as taking a part of a person's value away. The affirmative has stated that by eliminating certain terms, we can change people's perceptions and attitudes towards people with disabilities. We, the negative, believe this to be wrong due to several factors. First, what value or worth does a person have when their identity is not recognized? Many people with disabilities view their disability as a part of their identity. Like my partner argued earlier, identity-first language does not take away from the value of a person. Many people may argue, you wouldn't refer to someone with cancer as a cancerous person. This may be true, but it is because there is nothing positive about cancer. This does not apply to people with disabilities because many people view their disabilities as a positive part of their identity. According to Collier in 2012, another reason is that the use of person-first language reinforces opinions and stereotypes. The use of person-first language reinforces the opinion that people with disabilities have limited potential. If we want to incorporate them into society, we need to not marginalize them through the use of this language. It also creates the opinion that the disability should be hidden. According to Strauss in Identity and Hypocrisy, a second argument against person-first language, by sticking a word in the shadow of a noun, it creates a mental effect that something is inherently wrong with the noun. Also, words at the end are often stressed more, putting emphasis on the disability itself. Person-first language may be well-intended, but it also has unintended consequences. We, the negative, believe that identity-first language with respect to someone with disabilities should be taught in college campuses. In conclusion, should people-first language be required in all college classes?
The affirmative believes that person-first language should be required in all college classes.
The negative believes that identity-first language should be used instead of person-first language in all college classes.
Now it's up to you to decide what you believe.